Well, hello. I am so glad you stumbled across this video and this page. My name is Joel, and it's really good to meet you. Again, I'm glad you stumbled across this video and you're going through these videos, and I really hope that Jesus uses these to catalyze what he wants to do in your life, to help you uncover and discover who he's made you to be. Have you ever wrestled with questions like, why am I here? What's my purpose? What direction is my life headed in? How do I find or achieve or earn meaning and purpose? Well, if you have, you're not alone. We've all wrestled with those questions in some form. And the good news is that there's actually an answer for those questions. There's actually a direction our lives can head that's full of meaning, it's full of purpose, that's full of direction. And this kind of life, that kind of life is what every person is looking for. Everyone is looking for lives that are rich, that are satisfying, that are full. And here's some other good news. We don't have to find that kind of life on our own. In fact, Jesus actually said he came to bring us, to usher in a kind of life that would be full and satisfying. He said very clearly in John 10:10, I have come that they may have life, meaningful life, lasting life, and have that life to the full. And the reality is that our meaning and satisfaction and purpose only can be found in Jesus. And that's what we're going to uncover and discover together. And living in the life Jesus created for us, it's experienced when we take steps with him, when our faith and our understanding of who he is expanded, when we give ourselves away to him and what he's up to in our lives and in the world. And Jesus has created this pattern for us to live in. And Jesus is one of three persons of God. Jesus is part of three persons of God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And God created the world out of love. And an overflow of love, God created you and me and birds and trees and water and mountains. And he did it because he wanted relationship with us. And humanity, man, woman, we chose our own way and created this barrier between God and man. We created this barrier between the way we thought we should live and the way God intended for us to live. And after hundreds and hundreds of years of God chasing man down, pursuing man and women, and saying, I want a relationship, I want to know you, I want you to live in my way of life, finally Jesus came, God in flesh, to the earth, lived this perfect life, this incredible life full of miracles, hope for the hopeless, experiencing restoration in and through his life, miracles after miracles, people drawn to his compassion, people drawn to his grace. And Jesus gave his life ultimately for you and for me so that we could cross the barrier between God and man, so that we could experience relationship restored with him. And he extends that life to us even today. He extends that, like we said, that life to the full. And our hope is that you experience that life in Jesus. Our hope is that you experience a life-giving, a life-transforming, a vibrant relationship with Jesus. At Journey, we found that life is experienced within a pattern. It's experienced within a rhythm that we live in, that's an ongoing pattern in our life with Jesus. And that pattern is best experienced, that life is best fully experienced and embraced by us when we live surrendering to Jesus. When we live in this constant position and posture that our lives are going to be surrendered, yielded to the person of Jesus and his work and leading in our lives. They're experienced when we keep connecting with other people who are surrendering to Jesus. We keep connecting with those around us, people that he's placed in our lives to build meaningful, Jesus-centered relationships with. We live surrendering, keep connecting. And in those relationships, and in that relationship with Jesus, we get to find healing. We find healing from places in our lives that we've experienced brokenness, we've experienced pain, suffering, wounds from relationships or different traumas or experiences or our own self-inflicted wounds. We experience his healing. We find his healing. And then as we experience all those things, surrendering to Jesus, connecting and healing, we experience Jesus unleashing us, sending us into the world to make a difference, to live on mission and on purpose with him. Now this kind of experience and this kind of pattern of living is very different than what we might see in the world. It's very different than the pattern of life that people would live in the world. And actually Romans 12:2 says this: don't be conformed, don't conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by renewing, by letting Jesus transform the way you think. And so this live surrendering, this keep connecting, this find healing, experience unleashing is very different from what we see in those around us. And I just want to unpack those elements with you for a second. So that full life in Jesus is experienced when we live surrendering to him, when we let him lead and shape our lives. See, we don't just desire to see Jesus save our souls for someday and somewhere. We want him to lead and shape our lives right now. It's like the story of my friend Mike, who was influential, popular, and even successful on the outside, but he lacked this direction and security and was broken on the inside. See, as Mike began surrendering to Jesus, he found that he didn't have to call all the shots in his own life. He realized that Jesus already said he was significant. Jesus already said he was loved and had a purpose. And Mike could actually yield. He could actually live in a way that surrendered to that purpose Jesus had for him. I love stories like that. What might it mean for you to live surrendering to Jesus today? Maybe for you'd say, I've never handed my life over. I've never said, Jesus, would you lead? Would you save me? Would you lead me? Would you shape my life? Would you change me? Maybe for you, you haven't taken the step of baptism. This outward declaration of the inward reality that Jesus is leading our lives. Maybe there's other steps today that you just need to say, Jesus, I'm gonna continue to yield my life to you. I'm gonna live surrendering. And as we do that, Jesus leads us to these relationships where we can keep connecting. We can build meaningful, Jesus-centered relationships with those around us. And maybe today you'd find yourself lacking those relationships in your life. Maybe you said, man, I know a lot of people. I'm around a lot of people, but I haven't found a way to keep connecting. I haven't found a place to belong. And Jesus wants you to find that in his church. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The next move would be find healing. And as we come to Jesus, as we live in relationship with him and with other people, we find healing from wounds and things in our life that's painful. We find Jesus being, like he said he would be in the scriptures, one who binds up our broken hearts and binds up our wounds. And today, where do you need to experience the ongoing, the transformative healing of Jesus? It's like my friend who's a young mom and has this very painful and tragic past, but despite her past has pushed into the healing, has received and lived in the healing of Jesus and found it to be true in her life. And now she's making a difference in her relationships and in her family and in her community. Where do you need to experience that? A hurt you may have? An area of unforgiveness or bitterness? And as you do that, as you live surrendering to Jesus, as you keep connecting with others, and as you experience and find his healing, Jesus wants to unleash you. Jesus wants to unleash you to live a God-given, hope-filled purpose for your life. He wants to unleash you to live in the unique gifts, abilities that you have. It's like Jason, my friend who's a small business owner and has this passion for not just hiring employees, but for mentoring young lives, mentoring other men who may lack direction, who may lack this awareness of a purpose for their lives. Not just living in a little box, but saying, Jesus, how are you unleashing me in all of my life? And here's the reality. Wherever people are, there's an opportunity to make a difference and to meet a need. Wherever people are, there's an opportunity for Jesus to unleash you, for you to experience unleashing. And maybe you'd even ask these questions right now. Right now, where could Jesus use me? What unique Jesus-given purpose has he given me that I can live in? How can I make a difference in the lives that are around me right now? See, Jesus invites us to this life that's full of us living surrendering to Him, to keep connecting with other people, to find healing, to experience Him unleashing us into the world. And so maybe you take a step. Maybe you take a step below in one of those areas or in multiple areas. We want to help you experience and live in that relationship with Jesus. Make sure to keep watching. I'm excited as Pastor John helps us discover Journey and our place and your place in Journey, Jesus Church today.